Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's April 13th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented as always by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health and where the time is now to come to the, I'm not going to say rescue, but come to the aid of the Miami basketball program as LifeWallet yesterday afternoon solidified an NIL deal for Isaiah Wong, the talented guard that could pave the way for Wong to return to Miami next year as opposed to turning pro. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But first, Matt Shodell, we got to talk about spring practice yesterday, practice session number 13 at a Green Tree practice field. Didn't seem quite as animated out there as it has at other times this spring. But a lot of good work being done. And after practice, we spoke to defensive coordinator Kevin Steele, and that interview surprised me a little bit. And you guys can, if you haven't watched it and read about it already on the website, you can find it on the website here this morning. Kevin Steele seemed a lot more excited about the defense than I expected him to be. Now, he's not going to come out there and play Matt Shodell and be a negative Nancy and tell everybody that his defense, is not very good. You certainly can't expect that. But he seemed to feel relatively encouraged, Matt, by what they have gotten done on the defensive side of the ball this spring.
Yeah, and it was interesting that he said going into it, this was really the most telling moment, was he could have talked about, basically he was asked if there's been a bright spot, what position would be the bright spot. And he could have talked defensive line, he could have talked about linebackers, talked about safeties. He said the biggest surprise from, and we graded this yesterday, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, we should have asked them to do grades.
What's that?
We should have asked them to do grades and compare them with ours.
So basically that's what he did, because he was asked, what got the highest grade on defense from day one to now from what he expected. And he said cornerback, which I don't know if that's good or bad, right? Because I would have liked the defensive line to be amazing compared to what he expected, the linebackers to be better than what he expected. Apparently those two positions are pretty much what he expected, because he said the only thing I was really surprised about was the cornerbacks, So I don't know if that's good or bad. Listen, you know me, I'm Mr. Positivity. I'm going to say the whole team's amazing. We're going to win the national championship this year. I'm sick of all the comments out there. Matt Shodell's too negative. He's such a pessimist. I tried to explain yesterday why I'm not a pessimist. Now people are saying I shouldn't be allowed to talk to recruits because I'm too negative. This is an opinion show. When I talk to recruits, I'm not talking about the team. We're talking about them. What do they want? What are they looking for? What do they think of Miami? How'd their visit go? What are they talking to coaches about? I don't say, by the way, Matt Shodell thinks this about the defensive line this year. That's not what I talk about with the recruits, okay? So you don't have to worry. I did respond to two people who were concerned that I'm allowed to talk to recruits. I agree. I probably shouldn't be allowed to talk to anybody within the program at all. You guys have seen what happens on this show.
It's so funny that people would take this to that extreme. I mean, we're here to have a good time. We're here to have fun with you guys in the morning. Many of you are driving to work, listening to the show. Matt is not talking negative to recruits. Trust me. I mean, that is not happening.
Listen,
so
I would
get
love
that
to see
out of your
reaction.
imagination. Okay.
Can you imagine if I actually said something negative to a recruit about Miami, what their reaction would be? They'd be like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Anyway, you are negative.
But I explained to you yesterday, what does negative actually mean in the Matt Shodell dictionary, Gary? What does it mean?
You are negative. What does it mean? You're over the top.
Positive.
And you now, because of your negativity, have an image problem where people think that you're talking bad thoughts to recruits. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
You and I know
I would ever do that. Listen, I would fire myself. I would fire myself if I ever did that. I'd be like, what happened to me?
Yeah, you and I know it's totally absurd. But I just want to let you know, anytime you want, you can borrow my cane shades. And
very professional.
And
wear those in the press box. Are you sure you won't get kicked out? We'll see. Yeah, bring those to the press box for the first game next season. Let's see how that works out for you. Let me ask you something also. What's so negative about saying Miami's going to win 8 or 9 games this year? like, do fans just expect us to say every preseason they're going to win the ACC? They're amazing. They're going to definitely get 10 wins plus. They're going to be in the mix to be, in the playoff. I mean, I talked to a reporter yesterday, who was saying he thinks they might win 8 games. I mean, and he's been watching every practice too. I mean, I don't understand the disconnect between fans wanting to just believe something's changed in such a magnitude because you have a new coaching staff when you have the same players and are bringing in some portal guys, which is great. Just versus like the reality that we've seen, Gary, for 20 years. And I know
it's you. You're a magnet for antagonism.
I'm a truth teller, Gary. I'll believe it when I see it. Like, show me. I've been watching spring practice. It looks a lot better than last year.
A lot better.
But at the end of the day, you and I are watching practice yesterday, and we're like, this team doesn't look real fast. This team doesn't look real.
No, there's not. There's a lack of speed at the skill position. There absolutely is a lack of speed, and there's a lack of elite talent. There is no question about it.
You're so negative. They're playing an easy schedule.
Facts.
They're playing an easy schedule, but there will be a couple of ACC coastal teams that Miami should beat easily that will be close games. It's just going to happen because Miami's not. I'm telling you, I've seen the 2001 team practice, okay? I've seen teams in the late 1990s even practice when I was an intern for CaneSport. I know what it needs to look like to be a championship team, right? I've watched Alabama play. I've watched Ohio State play. I've watched Georgia play. This doesn't look like that. I'm sorry to tell you guys out there. It doesn't look like that. Call me negative. It's just the truth.
No, and you and we nobody's saying anything that's not the absolute truth and that they don't know. If you were to sit down, they understand that they are going to be in a battle every single week and that they have to be at their best to achieve at a high level and give themselves a chance to win all those games. There's going to be 5 or 6 close games. I mean, there's just going to be. I mean, look back at last season. Who would have predicted you can't predict blowouts every week. You're going to be in close games, and they are going to be in close games. There is not enough explosive talent right now to create an enormous amount of separation.
Listen, this is the silver lining. And I've been saying this. This is what they just want to listen to everything else I say, not this. Within 3 years, this team can and will be a playoff contender. 3 years. Because the staff is too good to not have that be the case. The staff is recruiting the best I've seen since before 2001, because 2001 is when it went downhill.
It's unbelievable.
The coaching. Yesterday, I saw something at practice yesterday I have not seen since Miami was competing for national championships. And that was, we were able to watch the first 5 periods. And usually in the first 5 periods, the offense does its thing on one side and the defense does its thing on the other side. But what the defense did yesterday that I haven't seen, which I just love, is literally Kevin Steele took just 4 players at a time and just worked with them individually in the middle of the defensive side of the field. Here's the technique. Here's what you do in this situation. Working with them, 10 minutes each. And that Kevin Steele teaching you one-on-one like that instead of the stupid group stuff they just did over and over again for no reason, like nonsense drills in recent years. This is why they're going to get better. It's not instantaneous success. It'll help. It doesn't hurt. But now you need the personnel also that you're coaching like that, right? They're doing it right. Now all that's missing is the personnel, man. And that's the recruiting. Maybe you hit some home runs in the transfer portal. I don't like 10 or 15 home runs. I don't need that many home runs. 3 or 4 home runs is all you need, because then you save your scholarships for the younger guys you're going to develop. But there's a formula for success that Mario Cristobal is following. And I was talking to a big booster yesterday about this. And, he's all excited about the transfer portal. And, I was just trying to explain to him, it's great for a 1-year fix, but, people don't sort of understand that there is another flip side to that. And even you were talking about how they took Jalen Phillips and Andres Borregales and, all these guys they took.
Jose Borregales.
All these guys they took that they needed at that time. And that actually really helped the program, the Bubba Boldens, whatever. But at the end of the day, if I told you they won 8 games that year, they won 9 games that year, they didn't make the ACC championship game that year, they didn't make it, that's the facts of what happened. And each of those guys, as great as it was, you got them, and they were first rounders. Jalen Phillips was a first rounder. As great as that was, it did use a scholarship spot for a future guy who could have been developed for 5 years at Miami, whereas they were here for 1 active year, right? Jalen Phillips was hurt, played 1 real year. Jose Borregales was here for 1 real year. And there wasn't a one-time exception. There wasn't that 7 free transfers at that time. So those carry forward, it cost you a spot. Anyway, the point is, if I could tell you this year that they took 15 transfers and that they could have had an extra 8 scholarship spots over the next 3 years with those 15 transfers they took, and they wind up winning 8 or 9 games this year, what would you have rather done? Would you have rather had those extra 8 or 9 spots in the class of 2023 and 2024? Because if they don't win 10 games or more this year, I would argue they shouldn't take 15 transfers this year. That's going to be in retrospect, but like that's just it's just math.
Yeah, but some of these are young transfers, so they're almost like recruits.
Some are.
Yes, it's a good strategy. Like I said, I love what I'm seeing. I have very few negatives right now. I mean, obviously, there's a couple positions that are a little light, but that was the case before Mario Cristobal got the head coaching job. I mean, everything that is being done right now, from the coaching to the recruiting, is top shelf. And
100% agree.
Yeah.
So anyway, the personnel will be fixed, but it's going to take some time. That's all.
Take a little time. There's some shortcuts that are available, like Darius Mims right now looks like he's going to visit Friday to Sunday. If they can land him, I mean that's a shortcut. You got yourself an elite offensive tackle for the next few years. But there'll be opportunities like that. They're going to keep looking for another few pieces in the portal. I think they'd love to come away with another starting level linebacker. I think they'd love to come away with a number 1 receiver. I would say those are the 2 priorities.
They're probably thinking 2 linebackers. They're going to get 1, and they're probably going to get.
Well, they're going to get the kid from UCLA. I'm pretty sure.
They're going to get that kid, but they're probably going to get another one too.
I think they would like to get 1 more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it's funny because I don't want to mention the poster's name because everyone has a problem with him. But we talked about this the other day. We said if Miami loses, and we both agreed on this. We've said if Miami loses some games they're not supposed to this year, don't blame the coaches. This is not going to be on the coaches. It's just an inherited personnel issue. And the person posted on the message board, well, what if they win the games? Do we credit the team and not the coaches? And my answer to that would be, you still credit the coach. Look, it's a no-lose situation for the coaches right now. It's a no-lose situation. If they beat Texas A&M, that's coaching. If they lose to Virginia Tech, that's the players. It's a no-lose situation. That's my answer to you, okay? And you know who you are who posted that.
All right, which takes us back full circle to Kevin Steele, and he really was bullish on what his defense has gotten done in spring practice. I think he understands where there's still holes, but you got to love his enthusiasm, love his attitude, love the way he's working with the kids, as Matt described. So I encourage everybody check out the Kevin Steele interview that's on the website. All right, a couple other things. We spoke to a couple of linebackers, Wayman Steed and Wesley Besaint. And the Wesley Besaint interview I thought was especially good. He's such a nice kid and has so much personality. And he's really been doing well this spring, has really been picking up the defense and practicing fast and really providing hope that maybe by the fall that he could be part of that linebacker rotation that we're talking about. Matt, your impressions of Wesley Besaint?
I think he's been really good for a guy who just came in January. He's put on some weight. He looks really good. Does he need to get bigger and stronger? Of course. It's not. This isn't the era of Shaq Quarterman, Mike Pinckney, Zach McLeod, where they play as true freshmen. You don't want that. But you know what? If they don't get a couple of really good transfers in the portal, I would not be surprised to see Wesley having a huge role this year and probably pushing a start in the fall. I mean, if you read the Kevin Steele interview, he had some quotes about Wesley, and he addressed basically what makes Wesley better than some of the other guys. He doesn't say the stuff about the other guys, just about their innate talents. He's a really, really, really talented guy. He's smart. He's learning it all. And he's already put on 13 pounds. He'll put on another 10, I think, before the season was his goal. I think he'll be a big part of this team. I really do. And I said that when he signed. I just based on the linebacker situation, this is the guy you needed to get, and a guy who really can make a quick impact. And I think he will.
Totally agree. And like I said, I encourage everybody to take a look at that Wesley Besaint story that's on the website this morning. And we also had a chance to talk to a couple running backs. Big day for us yesterday. We got to cover a lot of ground. And Thad Franklin and Henry Parrish, who have been the 2 workhorses this spring at the running back position. And there was such a contrast between these 2 kids, Matt. Henry Parrish, the experienced vet, that he's played in the SEC. He's been hardened by the competition. Thad Franklin, who's done very little of anything, trying to break through, and has been seizing the moment here in spring practice because there aren't any running backs. Knighton and Chaney haven't been practicing. So That's given these guys a lot of reps, and Thad Franklin has really taken advantage of that, coupled with a new coaching staff coming in that he seems to be responding to much better. And he's been very serviceable in spring practice. Now, I don't know what that's going to mean in the fall. You got Citizen coming in. You probably got Cheney coming back and Knighton coming back. So I don't know where that's going to leave Thad Franklin in September. We will find out because Henry Parrish is going to play. But at least now for spring practice, the goal for him was make progress. Matt, I think he's done that.
Yeah, and if I was going to describe both their interviews yesterday, I'd say they each averaged 2.0 yards a carry because they didn't give us a lot to work with. No fault of their own. It's not like we're
Parrish did, but Franklin's definitely a man of few words.
So my favorite part of both interviews was from Thaddeus Franklin because, whenever a reporter can't sort of get any good details, they're going to go to the tried and true. How much do you weigh? How, do you feel faster? Have you gotten stronger? What happened in the offseason with your weight? And so Thaddeus Franklin gave us a huge scoop. He now is down to 238 pounds. He feels much lighter. Do you know what he was listed at last year, Gary? You know how much weight he's lost? He was listed at 240 pounds last year. He's lost 2 pounds. So, watch out, man.
A little higher than that.
Watch out for Thad Franklin.
So anyway, so you got to look at the running backs. You got to look at the linebackers this morning. We also spoke to a really nice kid, Jacob Lichtenstein, and you watched that interview, read the interview on online this morning, and you really can get a feel for what a nice kid he is, and he's feeling all the competition. Like, he came here to play, and they keep bringing guys in off the portal to compete at that position, and he's ready for it. He says, and he has played some college football, which gives him an edge. But he's feeling it too. I think that came through, Matt, in the interview with Jake.
I mean, I don't even know what he talked about because I heard him say Mark D'Onofrio early on, and I couldn't even listen to the rest of the interview.
You had a heart attack. I'll tell you, Mark D'Onofrio.
I put it on mute. The rest of the interview I put on mute because I was worried the whole interview was going to be about Mark D'Onofrio. I don't know what else he said.
Here's the angle of Mark D'Onofrio. Mark D'Onofrio went up to Cypress Bay High School to check out Jake Lichtenstein and took a hard pass. He left Jake sitting there to go to USC. And now here we are, full circle. Jake's back. Happy to be here. His family's thrilled. They have him home. And everything's hunky-dory in the Lichtenstein household. But back then, that was a source of a little bit of, I would say, debate that year in recruiting when D'Onofrio chose to pass on this one. But hopefully the ending ends up being a good one for Jake.
Yeah, we haven't asked coaches about him that much, but I have a feeling he's, I don't know if you would say plug and play or however you put it, but he's a defensive tackle this spring. I'm not sure. Yeah, but he calls himself a defensive tackle now, but I'm pretty sure in the fall, if they need defensive ends, he'll be a defensive end. If they're playing a run-heavy team, he'll be a defensive end. If they're playing, a team that passes a lot, they'll put him at tackle for some reps. I think he'll move back and forth and be serviceable. I don't think he'll be an every down starter. If he is an every down starter, okay, but hopefully they can do a little better. He looks fine. And it's interesting because we haven't been able to see 11 on 11 the last, about week now, which doesn't help us at all engaging how these guys are doing, because you watch the early first 5 sessions, great. You're watching 45 minutes of drills, but you're not seeing really what the defense can do. So this spring game is going to actually be very interesting, even though they're going to run the totally vanilla type stuff. There'll be a few things here and there we can glean, even though Kevin Steele swears he'll never run a blitz. He's going to just have everyone stand in place at every snap and not move because they don't want to give anything away to the media, to the news. He said the news. That's how you know he's old school. He doesn't want the news to get anything. Like ABC News, ABC Nightly News in 2020 is going to be having exposés on the Miami Hurricanes.
He made it quite clear he's not going too deep in his play sheet.
Yeah, but I love how he didn't say. I love how he didn't just say we don't give anything to any opposing coaches. He said we don't give anything to the news. Like, what is the news? What year were you born, man? Like, the news. They don't cover the Miami Hurricanes defense anymore.
The whole thing is on TV, and that everyone who plays Miami is recording it. So, yeah, I mean,
So, listen, Walter Cronkite is going to do a special on the Miami Hurricanes defense. We do know that, but I think that's the only guy who's going to be doing it. Shout out to my guy, Walter. He's no longer with us, sadly.
But he made it very clear he's not. calling very much on Saturday.
Right,
So,
whatever. He will. He's going to. If his defense is getting shellacked and the stands are full, he's going to be calling something, man. He doesn't care. Give me a break. You don't do that. Hell no. You don't let this defense going to the offseason getting trashed by the offense. Hell no.
He says you don't have to worry about him, that he will have the willpower to not dig very deep.
Yeah. Guess what? He's playing mind games with Josh Gaddis. He's like, hey, Josh, don't run anything special because I'm not going on. And bam, this guy's coverage. Bam, stunts and twists. Bam, all-out blitz. In your face, Josh Gaddis. That's how Kevin Steele rolls, bro. All mind games.
Wait, what was the word what's he doing? What was the word you just used?
I have no idea.
When he's bashing Gaddis?
What?
Whatever. You got to throw in a couple of these.
Boom!
There you go. That's the word. That's the Miami Hurricanes mantra.
Boom!
Listen, he's doing what every great defensive coordinator does. Tell the offense they're not going to do anything special. Tell them how their defense is only the cornerbacks are doing well. That's it. You got nothing to worry about. Then bam, spring game comes and you show them what's what, bro. Kevin Steele defense. Can't say steel curtain. What would you call it now? The steel what? The steel something. It's a shame. If it was in Pittsburgh, you could say steel curtain with an E, but I don't think it's going to work here.
We'll come up with something. We need a word after steel. The steel. I don't know.
We're not going to do it here.
In the meantime, in honor of the baseball team's 13-game win streak, I apologize. I said 12 on the show the other day. It's actually 13. Let's hear a few words from our friends at Life Wallet Baseball.
My name is Yohan Morales, and I am Life Wallet.
Hey, yo. Heads up.
It's a home run.
Normally I strike out all my hitters, but I want everyone to knock it out of the park with Life Wallet.
Life Wallet could save my life, and it could save yours too.
Life Wallet. Saving time, saving lives.
I can't wait for the Isaiah Wong commercial. I hope he stays and mad applause to John Ruiz for stepping in and doing a deal with Isaiah Wong that hopefully will give him the comfort to stay in college another year, because it really is the best decision for him. He is not ready to be a professional. He needs to develop a better outside game. He needs to become a better free throw shooter. He needs to keep building on what he did defensively this year. Pretty much every single aspect of his game, other than some of those moves he makes to get shots around the basket and stuff, can stand to be improved. And I think if he does come back, and I think he will, it'll be a great decision on his part, facilitated by John Ruiz and Life Wallet. So,
look, I heard the only sticking point right now is John Ruiz is trying to get Don Chaney to do that whole. John Ruiz. I ruin everything. John Ruiz is trying to get Isaiah Wong to do the whole Don Chaney self-love bit for the commercial, and Isaiah's not having that. So we're going to have to see if he can sort of rework some of the wording, and then they'll get the deal signed, hopefully. Yeah, I agree with you. They need him back.
Self-love, you mean the...
Focus on your self-love. That helps a lot.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Did he write that for himself? I don't know. Who writes that for himself? Who hands Don Chaney a piece of paper and says, just say self-love a lot? Who does that? Like, was it a joke? Are they in the back room laughing? I don't understand.
You've been at the filming sessions.
Listen, if somebody handed me a piece of paper and said, here's the ad you're going to run for all your college friends to see, and I look at it and it says, I believe in self-love. Like, I'm not reading that, bro. I know you're paying me $50,000, but like, not for me. That's just me. I mean, good. Kudos to Don Chaney. He's obviously very in touch with, his inner self and his.
And I love the mellow way he delivers that.
He's the best. I love Don Chaney. He's
he really is. Like, people, like you guys out there that are watching, you don't really know Don Chaney.
He's a great guy.
Real well.
That's why listen, if this was like Richard Gordon or somebody, I would not be doing the whole self-love thing. I know Don Chaney. I know Don's dad. They're super chill. if they're watching this, they'll be laughing. They're not upset about it, okay? I know some fans are like, don't make fun of Don Chaney saying self-love, but like
Don Chaney is a very cool kid.
They're great guys.
He really is, and I hope he makes it back healthy this year and gets to play a little bit.
And by the way, no disrespect to Richard Gordon. The reason I mentioned Richard Gordon is because every reporter, when you saw Richard Gordon, you're like, wow, this guy looks like he could snap you in half. Just by
remember when he ran back kickoffs?
Yeah, he was the best physical specimen. That's why I mentioned Richard. Richard, don't take it personally, okay? But he was the most built football player I've ever seen in my life. And like, you know, there was guys who were built.
Jafari Harvey might be right there with him now.
No, Richard Gordon was like, he looked like he was a 6 foot. What was he? 6'4".
Harvey,
he was 6'4", 260, and he returned kickoffs.
Okay. What have you said? Have you paid attention to Jafari Harvey lately?
I mean, listen, do you know what happened to Ian Simonette? I heard Richard Gordon picked him up by the head and just twisted the head off. And nobody's ever seen Ian Simonette since. That's a joke. Ian Simonette, people at Miami are still like joke about Ian Simonette. They're like, just one day he disappeared and nobody ever heard from him again. They never put out a release on the poor guy. He never wound up anywhere else. They call him Jimmy Hoffa. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, I hate to use that thing there, but you know, he disappeared, man. And Ian Simonette was a beast in his own right in terms of physicality, big guy. What was he, like 6'9", I want to say? But he just disappeared one day.
All right, so we've got all those stories on the website. Again, I told you guys early in the show that Amarius Mims is expected to visit Miami Friday to Sunday. We'll be monitoring that going forward. Believe he's going to be at Florida State today and tomorrow. So Miami's going to have to sweat that out and survive a Florida State visit. Remember, Florida State just cranked up their NIL consortium this week. So he's going to get the full court press from the Seminoles, I guarantee you. But he will get the same from Miami Friday through Sunday. And keep your fingers crossed that one goes well. I think everyone will have their fingers crossed, not named DJ Scaife, because this guy would be coming in to take DJ's.
Don't do DJ like that, man. DJ loves competition, bro. He's all good.
And he'll play, but this kid will take his starting spot. There's no doubt. Now,
I don't disagree.
They will
I'm not sure DJ State. Listen, I'm not sure DJ State's a tackle no matter what. Okay, so I don't think.
Well, I was just going to say that. Like, if that happens, this guy theoretically jumps into the competition at right guard with Justice Olosawun.
I actually think that might be the best lineup. You know, I know you love Justice, but
Logan is going to be heard from there too.
Listen, to me, if they can grab, Mims, I love Zion and Mims, and then I love guards being. I think DJ Scaife and Jalen Rivers, and then at center, I would actually. I think Sagapolu can also play center.
I believe he can play center too.
And so you just have an all-out competition at center with him and that other guy who's coming in, the other interior lineman, John Dennis, and may the best man win at center, because right now they got a guy who's decent there anyway, not great, but decent.
And maybe you can give Ja'Kai Clark that red shirt year that he really needs.
Right. Right. And to me, that's an amazing starting. If that happens, to me, that's an amazing starting five. But then again, I thought last year the offensive line was going to be really, really good. As negative as I am, I actually thought they were going to be good. So that was the one mistake I made over the last decade that I can remember.
One mistake.
That's the only one I can remember, is I said the offensive line would be good last year. That's why I'm never positive, Gary. The only time I've been positive, I was wrong.
I get it. I get an email, not to bring up a sore subject from earlier this year on the show, but I get an email yesterday, a newsletter, and I'm just skimming it. And it says it's not inflation that's to blame for higher stone crab prices this season, but deflation due to Matt Shodell wiping out the stone crab population itself. Yeah. Crabbers have harvested fewer claws this year. Listen,
I'm glad you sent that email to yourself. Okay.
The powers that be are tightening regulations to help with the dwindling stone crab population due to Matt Shodell, like bumping up the minimum size limits for snagging claws and having patrol boats follow Matt Shodell all over Biscayne Bay to make sure that he doesn't clip the claws of the little babies that are out there and only clips claws of the bigger crabs, and also to make sure, Matt Shodell, that you have an escape ring in your traps to let out undersized crabs. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Escape
That
ring.
came-
What are they? Are they?
You're going to have to have an
escape
crab.
crab.
Your little metal thingies that you put pig's feet in to catch all those stone crabs.
Wow.
You are going to have an escape hatch that they can escape from you.
First of all, they've always had that. It's just a piece of wood that they can basically peck at over a long period of time to get out. But it's called a trap, just so you know. They do a census every year on the crab population. The crab population is doing exceptionally well.
No.
In part
This
because
has
of
been a
me.
bad year.
Because when I
And-
harvest
and-
the claws,
and this has been a bad year because people like you are taking too many undersized crabs and they're not getting to grow up.
First of all, I would never take an undersized crab. The truth is, we don't even take smalls. I mean, that's the truth. There's so many crabs in these pots, it's insane. And we don't take small. Like, who eats a small stone crab? They're legal, but like sweet.
It's out of those things.
I kissed him for good luck. It's a
You
renewable.
kissed him after you took his arms off. Okay,
It's a
Let's tell the
renewable
truth.
resource.
But anyway, I just wanted to, I didn't get a chance to mention that to you. I did get that email. God honest truth. And
It's not a real email.
it did have your name. Your name.
Oh, so a fan sent that to you? That's funny.
All right. So listen,
just so you know, just so everyone out there knows, of course we're not taking undersized claws. Nobody can take undersized claws. You'll wind up in jail, just like when you take undersized lobster.
well, just they're going to be watching you.
Perfect.
You got
We
about
don't
a
do
month
anything-
of the season
You
left.
don't do
They're
any,
going to be
we've
watching.
never done anything wrong. You fill up a 1 gallon bucket and you head back home. There's plenty of crabs in there for 4 people. That's all we are. But you know, the point is, it is, just so everyone knows, it is a renewable resource. You throw them back, they grow their claws back. The claws aren't used to eat, okay? They're used for protection, but it hunkers down, no problem. Its only real predator in the bay is Gary Ferman and other humans, as well as
No,
octopus.
I'm the one that has to pay the $80 a pound.
Now we're getting to the root of the matter. That's why you're so upset.
Killed the population.
That's why you're upset. You're upset because you got to pay and I get them for free. That's your problem, man. But the crab population is doing great. We take the excess weight off of them for free of charge so they can run around a lot faster and escape the octopus down there. And they're very happy. They actually thank us afterwards. So, you're welcome, Gary.
All right. So getting back to what's on the website today, we have our usual array of recruiting stories. There's a 4-star offensive tackle by the name of Joe Crocker. He's visiting this weekend from Nashville, Tennessee. Again, you've seen Alex Mirabal offering a lot of offensive linemen. We think, Matt, like 45, 50 offers out there probably. Joe Crocker is one of them. He's coming in from Nashville, so we got a story on him. There's a 4-star tight end by the name of Reed McKeska, who's coming in from Bridgeland, Texas, in the next couple days. We have a story on him. Also a story on a pair of 2024 Columbus High teammates who have both visited, TJ Capers and Dalen Russell, so you could start to get to know them a little bit, as well as a story on 2024 quarterback Cedric Bailey from Hollywood Chaminade, who's getting recruited by a whole bunch of people, including Miami. So cross-section of recruiting stories on the website for you this morning to dive your teeth into. So that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We covered a lot of ground. For Matt Shodell, who's going to try to be more positive, even though he thinks it's against the code of being
positive today.
Of being a reporter/analyst. I'm Gary Ferman, who's always positive. We wish everybody a nice day, and I guess we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning, everybody. Take care.